Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Belle again. So today, we're going to talk about constitutional convention concerns and California calling for a cancellation. A handful of legislators in California are taking a precautionary step to try to make sure that a Trump-dominated GOP can't rewrite the Constitution. Sounds weird, right? So, in the Constitution, there's a couple of different ways to amend it. One is through a constitutional convention. To start a convention, you need 2/3 of the states to call for one. That's 34 states. Now, over the decades, a number of states have issued a call for a convention. By some counts, it's more than 34, which means it's enough to call for one. Some argue that since the Constitution doesn't specify a time frame for the calls from the states to come in, well, they all count, no matter how long ago they were made. State Senator Scott Wiener said, quote, "I do not want California to inadvertently trigger a constitutional convention that ends up shredding the Constitution." And so, he is pushing to withdraw California's previous calls for a constitutional convention. California has called for a convention 7 times throughout its history. Wiener also said, quote, "The damage a constitutional convention could do to Californians' basic rights is off the charts. There are no guardrails once a constitutional convention has been triggered. Once it begins, extremists could easily hijack it and drive the convention to strip protections for women, LGBTQ people, workers, immigrants, or any number of other groups, while undermining democracy and locking in the power of the largest corporations on the planet." This concern is pretty widespread, and it's prompted the question of whether other states should rescind their previous calls for a constitutional convention. I mean, sure, why not? But before everybody goes into a full-blown panic over this, it's worth remembering that the convention process is just the first step. So, states ask for it. Congress calls the convention. Then, people would argue about what to change at the convention. Once there was some kind of consensus there, then you get to move to the second step, the ratification process. During that phase, 3/4 of the state legislature or the state-level conventions have to approve the changes. That means 38 states. Republicans have control of 28 state legislatures, with 2 more that could go either way. Even if the Republican Party picks up both states with divided legislatures, it falls 8 states short of being able to move things along on a party line vote. If it went to the state convention method instead of the state legislatures, it would break down roughly the same way on the partisan divide. Obviously, the more extreme the proposal, the less likely it would be to gain a consensus from even a majority of states. And a majority isn't enough. They need 3/4. So, is it a concern? Yes. Is it something that's better to address now rather than go through all the drama? Yes. But the ratification process is not an easy one. I'll drop a link below to an explainer on the whole process. Anyway, it's just a thought. Y'all have a good day.